Coming up on Network Africa. Hackers target the website of Ghana's Electoral Commission a day after presidential polls. And Gambians who fled President Yahya Jammeh's brutal rule are now hoping to return. And sugar shortage spikes fears among beekeepers in Egypt. Hello everyone, I am BC Adebayo. Barely 24 hours after the presidential elections in Ghana, hackers have targeted the website of the country's Electoral Commission, taking it offline. On its Twitter account, the Ghana Electoral Commission confirmed that a screen grab reporting to show opposition candidate Nana Akufo-Addo was leading against incumbent President John Mahama was fake. The Electoral Commission also said that the website was down for 4 hours due to the attack. Meanwhile, Ghana's main opposition NPP party has said its candidate Nana Akufo-Addo has an unassailable lead in the presidential election and called on President John Mahama to accept defeat. NPP policy advises that Mr. Akufo-Addo had taken 53.5% of the vote, according to the party's own tally, based on 92% of 29,000 polling stations collated, but Mr. Mahama had 44.8%. But the agency quotes a senior official for the ruling NDC party, Samuel Ofosu Aponfo, saying that Mr. Mahama was comfortably ahead and asked his supporters to remain calm. The Electoral Commission has said official results will be out before Saturday evening, and that's 72 hours after polls closed.
I went to other polling stations this morning, and I found that one of the polling stations I went opened an hour and a half later. Although I was informed they're supposed to start at 7 o'clock, they started at 8:30. Now, the other stations that we visited,
the little skirmishes or troubles we registered were disorderliness and the queue. Due to some places, maybe numbers, everybody eager to vote, and then maybe one or two people who said they could not find their names in the register. Apart from these two issues, generally it has been very peaceful.
In the meantime, African Union teams who monitored election booths across Ghana say they were satisfied with the handling of the elections and have praised the public for their peaceful behavior. One of the observers mentioned that he witnessed only a few logistical problems. The election looks set to be a tight race as President John Mahama seeks a second and final term against the backdrop of a West African economy that has slowed since he took power. Joining us now is, before we get on to that conversation, Gambians who fled President Yahya Jammeh's brutal rule are now hoping to return after his election defeat. One of them, Fatih Usman, stayed up all night in Italy to watch results of Gambia's presidential election trickling on social media. When the initial shock of Jammeh's defeat faded, Usman began to explore the idea of returning home.
The advent of a new president in Gambia has raised hope of an end to years of repression, bringing back home Gambians who had fled the country during Jammeh's rule. Back in Dakar, Senegal, Gambians who fled Jammeh's autocratic rule spoke of their relief and joy after hearing the election results. Former police officer Ibrahima Sane left for neighboring Senegal in 2013 after losing his job for standing up to corruption. He said he has no job or income and relies on family handouts to pay rent for the small apartment he shares with 6 others in the outskirts of the capital, Dakar. Sane watched all night as the results of the election trickled in.
It was all joy, dancing, but for me, I am a very emotional person. I cried a lot. I thought of a lot of things. I thought of losing my job. I had a very good police job career in my country. I have never been wanted. I have never been charged with a crime in the police. I have never done anything wrong. I lost my job. I left my family. I was forced into exile, and
thousands of Gambians have fled Jammeh's iron-fisted 22-year rule for Europe or sought work abroad as the economy sagged. Now many are re-evaluating after businessman Barrow beat Jammeh in the December 1st poll, promising to boost the economy and an end to repression.
If I had not left Gambia, I would have been, maybe the winning of Barrow might have taken me out, or I might have been killed in prison, because as many people died in prison, they were poisoned to death. I would have been sentenced. I would have been locked up in prison.
There may not be a rush to come back. Jobs at home are scarce, and remittances make up more than 1/5 of the GDP. Nevertheless, it is a jubilant turnaround for Gambian families torn apart by exile, and Barrow has promised to revive the economy. 51-year-old President-elect Adama Barrow became leader of the UDP, the country's largest opposition party, in September. He succeeded Dabo after he was jailed following rallies calling for electoral reform.
I have no concern. It's the people who have taken the decision.
And the loyalty of the army, you're sure of that?
We discussed with them. This is Gambia. Gambia is more important than any of us, and they are here to serve the Gambian people.
The United States and the United Nations have called for all political parties in Gambia to be freed. Barrow has said he will free political prisoners. In the Gambian capital, Banjul, the election results sparked days of wild celebration, and Barrow supporters gathered outside his house. The outgoing president is currently in his residency at State House, as Gambian law calls for a 60-day transition period.
Now let's return to the election.